There's a peaceful sailing trip with the goal of civilians delivering aid to Gaza, leading to fresh global outrage overnight. After internationally known activists like Greta Thunberg and our own Mandla Mandela had their vessels intercepted by Israeli officials, of the 44 vessels that began the trip sailing to Gaza from Europe, it seems just a handful are still moving on their journey. Let's get an update on the flotilla now. I'm joined in studio by Newzroom Afrika news editor Nic Andersen. Nic, good afternoon to you. Thanks very much indeed for your time. How did Israel do this? What happened?
Stephen, this is a story which keeps moving. And even since this morning to sitting here now during your chat with Dr. Suleiman, it keeps developing. And you've watched the vessels kind of drop off like flies, for lack of a better term. We've seen it started over the last maybe 24 hours or so, and we can bring the footage up to show just how militarized the operation has been of these interceptions. Full courses, full Israeli military coming on with full rifles, really stepping on and climbing aboard these ships and taking these vessels and taking absolutely nothing for granted. We know people have been detained. You mentioned some of the names we have spoken about already. And of course, with that detention, a lot of videos, kind of pre-recorded videos, because people expected this, to be honest. They had hoped, but people had expected that this wouldn't make it all the way to Gaza itself. So Mandla Mandela, of course, had a video which he put on his social media this morning, and I'd just like us to take a listen to what he had to say in terms of just the situation and how he had been detained.
My name is Nkosi Mandela, a citizen of the Republic of South Africa. I am participating in a non-violent mission on the global Sumud Flotilla, taking humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. If you are receiving this video, it means I have already been intercepted and abducted by the Israeli forces. I call on you as the citizens of South Africa to call on our government for my immediate release.
So, Stephen, the question now is, what's happened with all these people who have been detained? We know almost 500 people set off from countries around the world originally. Some, of course, for various reasons. At one point, they got rid of extra media bodies on the flotilla just because they needed to save space and they were encountering dangerous situations. But let's take a look at what the Israeli Foreign Ministry has had to say. So this was a few hours ago this morning. They've given another update, which we will look at a bit later. But they are calling us the Hamas flotilla. That's how they've been referring to it the entire time. We know countries involved from this, like I mentioned, all over the world. There's been a lot of international, including from our own president, saying, look, this is a violation of international law. But Israel still insists on referring it as the Hamas flotilla. They said passengers on the yacht are making their way safely and peacefully to Israel, where their deportation procedures to Europe will begin. The passengers are in safe and in good health. And if we can move on to the next tweet, I really want to take a look at some more details onto the flotilla. So like I mentioned, almost 500 participants from 46 countries. If you look there and you see South Africa down there near the bottom, originally 7 South Africans were expected to be part of this flotilla. Like I mentioned, 1 dropped off. There are 6 in question over the moment over their detention. But really, Stephen, countries from all over the world. And it really is clear that this is not, how can it be a Hamas-linked effort when there are this many countries involved? So, of course, then I want to take one last look at the absolute latest on the next tweet from Israel. This came in a few minutes ago, Stephen. They're again calling it the Hamas provocation is over. None of the Hamas provocation yachts have succeeded in its attempt to enter. We know in the hours leading up, there were 4 that had made it through. There were some which got really close. They say now that there is only 1 last vessel. Remains at a distance, and if it approaches, Israel said it will sweep in. So with this going on, Stephen, I really want to take a look at and a listen at how people have been tracking the flotilla over time. There's been an online system. We know we've seen signals of these vessels go off. And let's just take a look at how the tracking system has been implemented. So you can see, Stephen, that 1 got so particularly close, within 8 kilometers from what we hear of Gaza, the shoreline, before it was intercepted. We know of the 44, most were intercepted much further back, but 1 managed to get that close. So, yeah, it is a real testament to how this operation has played out over the last 24 hours.
And then when the Israeli forces arrive, they block signals, right? So we don't know, we haven't been able to see the actual action. The moment that they arrive, they sort of bring almost like a cell phone blocker with them.
Yes, they bring those signals, and you've seen the signal blockers have been intercepting the vessels as they go. You've seen them drop off one by one on that tracker. You see the dot on that last vessel, they appear to be blue. If they had zoomed out, you would have seen that, look, they turn red when they stop giving signal updates. And standard procedure amongst those on the flotilla was once Israeli ships come towards you, everyone takes their cell phone and they throw it in the sea, because they don't want to be linked to anything and they don't want to have any kind of give Israel any reason for furthering their detention.
So Israel says that they're going to deport them to Europe. If you look at that map in the world, I mean, the 22 members of the United States who, according to Israel, support Hamas, or the 3 people from New Zealand, I think it was. I mean, we don't yet know what's going to happen. This is a reminder of the situation in that part of the Middle East, that if you have force, if you have the military, which Israel does, you can dictate what's happening on the ground. I mean, this is another example of that. There's nothing really our government can do except, as our president has demanded, that they be returned.
Yes, Stephen, and we've seen a few comments from governments across the world, like you mentioned there. They're saying this is a violation of international law. President Ramaphosa went as far as saying it's a violation of the ICC judgment in terms of allowing aid into Gaza. Remember, these vessels were full of aid, which was supposed to be entering Gaza. And of course, Israel, they posted a video again from their foreign ministry account in the last days showing one of their officials saying, look, you say you want to come in with aid. This is waters which we've cordoned off. And of course, you cannot get this aid in without following the correct channels, as they call it. So it's a globalized effort, and Israel is calling it Hamas. But as you can see from what we've shown you, it really, really has been a global operation that now has the spotlight fully on it.
Nic Andersen, news editor here at Newzroom Afrika, channel 405. Thank you very much indeed for that. And of course, you know how people are feeling about the situation in Israel and Gaza, the very difficult and strong emotions that we've seen over the last little while on this issue. But of course, lots of frustration and many questions around where the South Africans who have been detained by Israel actually are at the moment.